time sensitive. Now let's get into a little Q&A. I'll answer all your questions, and then we'll go from there. So let's see what we got today. What are we? Oh, Jean-Louis, thank you so much for the Visa website, buddy. He says, hey, Rob, major security vulnerabilities exposed in Base, Optimism, and other Optimism stack layer 2 blockchains. This is why I like John Louis. He's always on top of things. So, John Louis, I'll take a look at that, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. I hate to give people on a little bit of a cliffhanger, but that is interesting. Maybe Stripe knows something we don't. Interesting. Oh, Flezick says, hey, do you need any mods over on Dan Degen? Yes, as a matter of fact, we're going to, because we need to start doing live streams over there for the more risky stuff. Because right here is the meat and potatoes, 1 through 20, you know, as far as market cap goes. Nobody really, not nobody, but very few people want to know about the massive gains that you can get for runes and orbitals. Very few people are looking for the new type of projects that are out there that haven't launched and are very super risky, and you will essentially probably lose all your money if you invest into them, or you can make a profit. 99.9% you're probably going to lose everything. If I just say that, then I think everybody's covered. So now you know you're gambling. But yeah, man, we need to do live streams over there, and everybody can ask me questions about it. AR11, can I buy now crypto? If you're new to the game, depends. I can't give you financial advice. That's why everybody's different. Do you have, this is what sucks about this. Do you have monstrous bills and credit cards that you haven't paid off? Can you afford your rent or your mortgage? Do you have a 6-month emergency fund? If you said yes to those, or no for some of them, then maybe you can invest into crypto. I don't know. It's hard to say. I can tell you what I did. I've been dollar cost averaging still some cryptos. And actually, this is why I brought up that piece. This is why I brought this up. Remember when we talk about time and risk bands? So the lower you are in the risk bands, the actual, not the safer it is, but the less risky it actually is. And one thing I noticed here is that some things are very undervalued. Polkadot is undervalued. Chainlink is it's in the middle. But look at Polygon. As far as the risk band, it's 0.24. 0.24. And we just heard that they are potentially partnering up with Stripe to process those transactions of USDC and stablecoin. So if that's true, I would imagine Polygon would go up a little bit, but it's anybody's guess. So I was taking a look at that. And then also there was one more. Avalanche is below the 0.5 level. Avalanche, it's at 0.46. So when I take a look at those, I'm like, might be something to, well, I probably have those orders already in. So, all right. Let's see. Great weekend, everybody. Mohammed says you're my fave. I don't know why. I don't know why either. Sometimes I don't really understand why people watch the show. I'm very bearish and I don't talk a lot about moon tokens and stuff. That's what Dan Degen's for. Yes, it means ordinals. No, if you take a look at, well, Jay, if you take a look at, again, Unisat, the website's called unisat.io. Ordinals are not runes, and runes are not ordinals. Ordinals are NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. Runes are tokens on the Bitcoin blockchain. And they are spaced as well as they possibly can be in the UTXO transactions. So there is a massive difference between those two. And I think this latest one here, dogs go to the moon. I think this one has a 400, yeah, I think it has like a, no, I think it's a $600 million market cap in the last 72 hours. If you can believe that. which means that if they hit $1 billion for a market cap, this dog go to the moon, which people thinks is funny, they'll be in the top 100 by crypto market cap. Top 100. Yeah, that's risky, man. That is risky. Oh, AR says, currently I'm a 50% loss. That's why I ask you. I don't know what you bought. If you bought some meme coins, hey, shouldn't have bought so many. We know those are gambling, but other stuff, just stick around. Rebecca Hangry. Agree or disagree, we are on a mid-cycle top. Sell and man go away. We talked about this, me and Jessica and Ben on the NFA live show yesterday, and they made a compelling case that that's really what it is. But it's tough to say. Well, here's the thing. I'm just going to tell you, Rebecca, I'm not going to sell anything at this point. I mean, we just take a look at some indicators. So here's the thing. Here's the funny thing about crypto. You can sell anything because sell and man go away makes a lot of sense. Historically speaking, over the last 70 years, and you can take a look, we've done a couple of different videos on this. It's not just in the traditional market, but a lot of times in crypto, digital assets, it does make sense to actually sell a man go away, except for the presidential election years and post-halving years. And that is right now. So if we take a look at that data, sometimes it makes sense, but for me, I'm not going to sell. I just don't see a point to it. I don't want to take a haircut. I don't want to screw around, and that's it. But for some people who are in and out, you could, but you also have to remember about taxes. So if you bought things within a year, then you're like, okay, sell them and go away. You can do that, but just know that you're paying short-term capital gains here in the States. And of course, if you're in Germany, you have to wait an entire year to get long-term capital gains tax, which is 0. And that's the only really ones I know. Canada's got some weird ass ways they do things as far as capital gains. They're talking about going from 50 to 66%, but that's not really the whole story, because it's actually 66% of the total amount, which is in your tax bracket. That's weird. Trudeau and the nonsense that's going on over there. Are you mining gummy? Amy, I don't know what that is. You got to tell me what that is. I have no idea. What's your opinion about Manta? I think everybody knows what I'm going to say right now. Probably do pretty well in this bull market. I don't really know what it is, but it'll probably do well in the bull market. Let's see. Hey, it is Amy softball. Yeah, exactly. Amy's been maybe the bull runs back. It's when Amy comes back, and it's when Mullet comes back. That's when we know. And then a couple other people I'd like to see. See, everybody's here. What about Flux? I don't know what that is. Yeah, this is a good point. A crypto minute. If you're a trader, sell may go away. If you're an investor, DCA. Yeah, pretty much so. There's also a video that we just did recently, which I added over to the website at Dan Teaches Crypto, which talks about why I stopped the dollar cost averaging. Now I just do the dynamic dollar cost averaging. There's a video about what that is and how to do that. But it makes sense from the last cycle. We'll see. Yeah, just picked up some Link, Render, Akash. I think it might be Akash. I don't know for sure for my DC rate. Very nice. I picked up some Bonk because it's down in the dumpers. Or no, or something else. No, it might have been Bonk. Digger says, a bull runs over June and July. All normal cycles end eventually. It's very true. Just waiting for the indicators to pop, and then I'll sell that. And then, but there's one thing that really bothers me, which is we just saw the macro environment's very odd, because we've had a slowdown of GDP and we've had a slight increase in inflation. And I think it was the GDP rates were like well below what we thought it was going to be here in the States. So we've got a problem with GDP is actually declining, and inflation is very stubborn and actually incrementally on an incline. And people are talking about this as stagflation. And when we have these types of things, it's very hard to get out of it. The way to get out of it Well, there's multiple ones. One of the ways is, of course, printing more money. Unfortunately, we're in debt of $34 trillion. I don't have that on me, so maybe someone else could help us out. But if that happens and we start to print more money, what usually happens to inflation, it goes up. We can only have so much. And then, of course, assets get out of control as far as price appreciation, which we saw in 2020 when we did massive amount of quantitative easing. So the thing I worry about is people will say, well, that's good for Bitcoin because the Bitcoin price will go up. That's true, but everything will go up. And then you start to think about, what people are saying about Bitcoin is maybe it's right. Maybe we should all, me personally, I'm never going to sell all my Bitcoin. That's a bad decision for me, but maybe not for you. As we see things just start to maybe collapse. I don't want to be a bearer of bad news. Who knows? Maybe we could have an economic reset or something. But it does concern me when I see these types of the macro environment start to really regress. Dow says, the having just started, have patience. That's very true. Let's see. Driz says, that's true. FOMC meeting next week will determine short-term crypto outlook. Yeah, expect no rate cuts. There's been a very small subset of people who say they may consider a rate hike. Some people say then that's the beginning of the end, but who knows? I think we've gone through enough rate hikes. We'll see. Live life. What countries and cities are the best to move to for tax haven? You're in Puerto Rico. I have looked at properties there. Puerto Rico is the greatest. The greatest. This place is awesome. Guy and Jessica and Nick and Cryptocito, they seem to love Dubai. And they say it's like the best thing of all time. I know other people have gone there and said they can't stand it. Just depends. So it depends on what you're looking for. That's a good one. Some people talk about Portugal, and that seems to be a tax haven. But there's another person to follow, the Nomad Capitalist. He's big on, and he has a team that can help you figure out what's the best thing for you and your situation. Nomad Capitalist. He's pretty much on it. I don't know. Do you know any DEXs that allow stop loss orders? Do we have any? I think Jupiter, that's a Solana-based decentralized exchange. And I want to say Orca, but again, Solana-based decentralized exchange. I think both of those actually have stop losses, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome. Mars is tax-free so far. Do you agree with Ben's thoughts on rate hikes and retail involvement for ETH? When we talked yesterday, he didn't think that he would. I think we talked, he said it's not going to happen in the next FOMC meeting. It's not going to happen after that, maybe in July, August. And he sees one, maybe two. I think that's what he talked about. As far as retail involvement for ETH's not going anywhere. We just saw why Stripe pick them up for whatever reason. But they must know something that we don't know as far as for transactions. Another thing is, I know a lot of different OG crypto people here on the island, and they're not just Bitcoin OGs. They're people who got into Ethereum like super early, and they say pretty much the same thing. They're like, look, Ethereum is just a bunch of old money that people put into it. It's not going anywhere. They're going to find out a solution for these layer 2 solutions. And if they don't, then, they'll massively move. But for right now, that money is not going anywhere. Because I was like, why is there so much LTV in Ethereum? People, wow, there's all these layer 2s, and there's talks about, and there's layer 3s coming, and this is going to be the next future of finance. I'm like, I don't get it. But I don't have to get it. I still own some Ethereum and some layer 2s. I don't really care which one wins. I'm here to change my pocketbook, not the world. Let's see. I hate old money. Yeah. They're nice guys. But yeah. Let's see. Oh, Dex Hunter. Dex Hunter stop loss on Cardano. I thought Dex Hunter was an aggregate of the different DEXs that are there. and it wasn't their own DEX. But okay, it's on Cardano. So if you're, transacting in Cardano, there you go. Someone had a good question about why wasn't Cardano picked for the Stripe and their transactions. Well, talk to the foundation about that. There was supposed to be some talk with them working with USDC, and I believe it was Charles Hoskinson who said that it's just too expensive to be included. So he's like, forget it, we're not going to do it. Dan Gambardello, he's got his own YouTube channel, great guy. He was trying to get the Cardano community to actually go in with USDC. Just, I don't know if it ever took off, but I don't think they're actually on the rails. So that's why. Do you think Urine will still pump or Cosmos? Yeah, probably. Bull run. Oh. Mohammed says, you'll help me in X if you don't want to. Mohammed, I never got the tweet, so you have to tag me in it. How about this? Just put in your Twitter handle, and we'll go from there. But again, remember, because Mohammed lost a bunch of his funds, when we tweet or post, and then it's for Zach XBT, he's only be able to find you what the wallet is that it actually went to, but it's very hard to get your actual funds back, and he can't do anything with that. But sure. $100K pool part by the end of the year. If we reach 100K, I don't think it's gonna. I mean, it could happen, but who knows? What about stacks? I own stacks. Probably do great. I like, because, and I've said this before, I think there's a huge narrative to push, because Bitcoin's the most secure, the most decentralized crypto project on the entire planet. And it's battle tested and it works, and it has, but it just gets bogged down on the layer one. That's why I think layer two solutions are key. So stacks being there, also with smart contracts, could be one of the big ones to watch out for. Now, I bought it a while ago, so it's already appreciated massively, very happy. And I'll probably sell it again when the indicators hit. But there's also other indicators. I mean, there's also other layer twos on Bitcoin. And if you look at, if you go to Dan DGEM, we just took a look at Core. And Core is a layer two solution, which I think can do very well, essentially being a DEX or a decentralized finance layer two solution on Bitcoin. Looks pretty good. Alva. And then, let's see, if you go to L2.watch, L2.watch, you can see all the layer twos that are on Bitcoin. Now you gotta, because there's a lot of them. Let's see, but like a couple of these are, let's see, Bitcoin, ARC, all right. Avalanche, AVAX, okay, AVAX. BEVM, don't know what that is. Bitcoin, Bison, it's in testnet, don't know what that is. Bitcoin VM, testnet, it's a roll-up. Let's see, Bit Smiley, roll-up, pre-test, I don't know what that is. Mostly I don't know what these are. But you can find them here. Tribe Chain, Gelios is on mainnet. Lightning Network, of course, everybody knows that one. Mercury Layer, State Chain, Nubit, Omnibolt, Satoshi Protocol, I've heard of that one. Side Protocol, and ZK Sats. Where is Core? Did I miss it? Whoops. C-O-E. Oh, it's right there. I just missed it. Core DAO. Core. It's a sidechain of Bitcoin. Why isn't it labeled right? Oh, well. Maybe it's me. Anyhow, check that out. What else? Yeah, I don't think that's the same one, unless I'm thinking of something else. Let's see. Because Core, or Core DAO, is ranked 50. what I'm looking at here, whoops. So you can see what I'm looking at. This is core. Ah, it is the same one. That's the ticker. The website is Core DAO. But it's not just a DAO. That's how they named it, I guess. Core DAO. Yeah, that's right. EVM compatible smart contracts, Bitcoin powered blockchain. Yeah. There's that. Yeah. XRP Army is its own worst enemy with shills and fake news. I can't really speak to that. I don't really know. I always got a kick out of the riddlers, the bear riddles that the XRP community would say, oh, well, there's this bear and he's in these pictures and he's showing us what's going to happen with XRP. And like, I remember watching a video and I was thinking to myself, this is a grown adult talking about this. I can't believe this is actually real. And they really thought that guy had inside information. Okay. All right. Let's see. Doug says, sorry if I asked, but are you worried about speed and transaction fees on Bitcoin with the layer 2s? They're supposed to help actually with transaction fees, and they're supposed to drop them. It's the same thing with Arbitrum and Optimism and Base. They're helping with the transaction fees because it's on top of Ethereum. So you can do thousands, hundreds of thousands of transactions and then just roll them all up and then put them onto the layer 1 solution, just pay one fee for these thousands of transactions, which is a lot better than just paying, $5, $15, $328 or whatever it is for Ethereum when it's super congested. So yeah, and so I'm not concerned about that. But speed and transaction is supposed to be even faster. That's the big thing. Let's see. Michael says, does Lightning Network actually work? Seems to work. My question is, why hasn't it been adopted everywhere? Why are we doing layer 2 solutions? Jack Mallers will be the one for that. I don't know. But I have read different pieces about how there are issues with Lightning. And if it was perfect, I think we'd all be using it. But, some people, I don't know. Some people say there's different issues. And that's it. All right, everybody, that's it for today. I did my job. So again, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. I'll do that video on runes and how to buy and the different, and the wallet, which I use Xverse and Unisat for buying those and why buying and market cap and where to follow, because it's very weird. It's a very odd, it's a very new untapped resource, we'll say. But that's it for today. So everybody, thanks so much for stopping by. I appreciate you, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a great weekend.